I'm Hunter with Small Arms Combatives. I'm pleased to announce that this is the introduction of a series of videos from our footage of our 2-day survival and bushcraft class that we had here at Small Arms Combatives. We hosted Jeremy of Wolverine Survival here in North Carolina to come out and teach us some bushcraft and survival skills.
A little bit longer.
We decided, since this was a 2-day class, that it would be just about impossible to just put all this information into one long YouTube video. So we decided to break up the skills into separate videos. So this is going to be the introduction for all these videos. So I hope that you enjoyed the series of videos that we have. We'll try to release one every few days until we have all our footage put out there. Thank you so much, and if you're interested in training, come out to Small Arms Combatives and we'll get you the training that you need.
Water. Anything that you got that is natural material is going to work. If you got a nylon shirt, you got something like this ain't going to work. So you bear that in mind, you know, when you're in your outfitting and the stuff that you buy. Try to include some clothing made out of natural materials, because there's several things, just like we talked about with the charcloth yesterday. Synthetic material will not work to make charcloth. But a cotton t-shirt, cotton jeans, not the stretchy ones. Yes, sir.
What do you think about man, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. What they wear over Middle East?
The shamags?
Shamag, yeah.
Shamags. They're very useful. The people I see that are incorporating shamags are only incorporating them to their stuff for the cool factor.
Yeah.
That's what I see. I have a shamag. Occasionally I take it with me. It's a cool thing. You know, it's very useful if you know how to use it. So
They're not a tight weave, though.
they're not.
Yeah.
And really, that's to the benefit, to be honest.
Yeah.
We may have a small difficulty with this because it is such a tight weave.
It's a tighter weave.
I don't
Okay.
think so. I think it'll be okay. It may just take longer to do what I want to do. But shamags are good. I actually brought some back when I came back from overseas. They were kind of a local thing where I was at, but they had different tribal meanings. They're different ones, and I've lost them over the years. But I've got one that's got "Don't tread on me," you know, like everybody's, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know, and it so many people are just faking funk. You know, I'm just gonna say this and not hurt anybody's feelings. I know this ain't you guys, but you may have close friends or whatever. So many people see something on TV, or they are into the tactical life, or they're into the bushcrafting life, or they're into outdoor life for the cool factor. And when they're present, for some reason that personality type is only there for the cool factor. They're there for the bragging rights, say, I do this, I do that, I did this, I did that. And it doesn't matter how, it's like you hear people say, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I analyze personalities in groups a lot. That's one of the things that I'm just wired to do. And if you have friends that are like that, you can't force them to do right. But over a period of time, being a good example on them, that's what changes their manner of approaching, you know, training situations or whatever, and actually going from the fantasy person to the real deal. That's something I ain't said it a lot in this class, but a lot of times when I refer to certain skill levels or certain types of people or certain things that even I will emulate, you know, I refer to that as being the real deal. Real deal people, real deal situations, and all that just comes over experience and time. Anyway, all right, it's 10 o'clock. So I like, if I have some already clean water, I like to start this process with clean water, but you don't have to. If all you have access to is that muddy water right here, does everybody see this? I will, I'll give $1 right now for anybody to take a swig. I know nobody wants to.
Don't do that, bro.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do that, bro.
So this is also known as marine detector.
That's a low threshold.
You never dare a marine, because he just do it, just to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we look at this, it is not palatable. You don't want that. You don't like that. But there's stuff in that we need. The water's there. It's just kind of disgusting. And that's not the most disgusting water I've ever seen. I've seen stuff that almost pure look like sewage. But, you know, make use of it. You know, the water's there. You just need to transform it from this into something else. But I like to start this process by using some known good water. And whatever you're using as a wick for the capillary action, you need to soak it really good. And it helps to mash it.
Kind of ring it.
You know, kind of, you want it really good and soaked. It needs to be waterlogged. Now, I talked about this some yesterday, and let me get an idea. Who I wasn't here yesterday? You, and you. So we got 3 people that weren't here yesterday. There's a lot of things that I will forget that I may have already discussed yesterday. But we talked about this yesterday. This is not a filter. Even though I call it a filter, even though they technically refer to it as capillary filtration, it is not a filter in the sense that this water is going to be perfect to drink when we're done with this process. The only thing that we're accomplishing with capillary filtration is we're going to improve the quality of the water. So I've got this pretty good and soaked. So I want to, and this is probably as good of a spot as we're going to find. So I need some gravity at work. So I'm going to set this on the edge right at the corner.
This is like siphoning, but with a rag.
Yep. It takes time though. So I want this to be as strategically placed as it can. And I need this to be free hanging, not touching anything else. I need it to drip directly into the lower container. So everybody be kind of conscious of this. Don't bump into this if you can avoid it. I'm gonna stick that piece down in there.
Whoever bumps into it and knocks it off has to buy everybody beer later on.
So we're just gonna let that go. It takes time. Can you do this on a much larger level? You're only limited by your imagination. But what we're hoping to see, we're already seeing water drip. That's water that I probably soaked into it. But look up capillary action for a scientific explanation of what's going on here. Gravity is going to suck the water down. The water is wicking up through the natural material, and the molecules of water are just being dragged along by gravity. And don't expect that it's going to be perfectly pure, clean water at the end. But it should be greatly improved. And if it's not up to the standard, the first filtration, you can filter it again. You know, wash out your rag, whatever you have, rinse it out really good, get all the nasty out of it, and take this container and filter into another container. And there's nothing saying that you can't use a big old cotton piece of rope in a 55-gallon drum. If that's what you have, you have. And you'd be surprised how much water you'd have in the secondary container after 24 hours. You'd have a lot.
How long will it take for that cup to go through?
A long time. It's going to take the majority of the class. And it won't get all of it. It'll get to a certain point where the wicking will kind of slow down. Your biggest thing is, fortunately, we have a lot of humidity in the air. If you're in a very arid environment, this would require constant attention. You'd have to constantly re-wet the rag. In an arid environment, it's not going to work as well as it would, you know, like here. This rag should not dry out, but if we were, say, in the Grand Canyon, this would work, but it would require constant attention to keep it working.